What fascinates me about the human mind is our ability to make art. We do it without even thinking about it. It's just innate. Even those who claim they don't even have a little bit of an ounce of creativity in them, they still create. And despite living millions of miles between states and living between entire oceans, our species all share that trait. In today's episode of the Cryptid Files, I will be taking an in-depth look at our species' interpretation of the supernatural. Why is it that people thousands of years ago, living thousands of miles apart, developed the same ideas of dragons and spirits? Why do people claim to see ghosts? What do we consider evil and good? In today's episode, I will be discussing this, and hopefully we might be able to find an answer. Rengda. For many, this name represents the incarnation of evil, one of the many forces of nature that seeks to reduce us to our most primal desires. To others, he is known as the Oni. Viewers might be more familiar with the name Satan. It seems all cultures represent the supernatural in some way, and all have different ways of coping with the concept of evil spirits. A long time ago, specifically the 8th century, the people of Sowen started a tradition of dressing in costumes and carving faces in onions to ward off spirits. Today, this tradition is more popularly known as Halloween. In Bali, they have a dance that represents the struggle between good and evil, starring the spirit Barang who fights for goodness. He comes in the form of a tiger, boar, dragon or serpent, or most popularly, a lion bedazzled in gold coins and a red face. The dance begins with two dancers dressed as monkeys who dance and tease the spirit Barang. Being the incarnation of altruism, he isn't fazed. But then his nemesis, Rangda, rises to challenge him by convincing the two monkeys to commit suicide. Barang protects them and fights Rangnam where he will eventually win. The Balinese believe that humans contain both good and evil, and that often the evil within us surpasses our capacity for good. But in the end, there is no true force that overtakes the other within the human spirit. So these virtues are encased in a non-human form. That's why their gods come in the forms of animals. The bell is an object one will find if he first finds a field of sheep and cattle. In Bulgaria, there is a pagan tradition where people dress in sheep and goat fur with bells tied around their waists. The sound of the bell is meant to ward off evil entities and bring happiness and a good harvest that year. They are called the kukri. They visit people's homes at night and dance, sort of like a more jazzy Halloween. The Vegante, meaning giant bladder, comes from the practice of painting cow bladders in Puerto Rico. This eventually turned into wearing papier-mâché masks and hosting a large festival which continues to this day. It's believed this originated from St. James the Apostle defeating the Moors, and the masks were meant to make fun of them. Then in the 17th century, it was meant to scare people back into the church. Now, though, it's less religious and more user-friendly, though they still represent the resistance to imperialism. So many different ideas and different ways peoples around the world depict the unknown. But why the fascination with ghosts? Every human is born with the fear of the things we don't understand. We developed the ability to think and reason, yet we can't conceptualize the things we can't see. Why do shadows scare us? Why is the night so dark? When we look out into this night sky and look through our telescopes, I believe we are looking at the answers we've been asking, but we are completely unable to process it. If we looked into the void and wondered what was in there, would we want the answer? We cannot explain the unexplainable, so we make stories and art that encapture our ideas and beliefs. Do you think that secretly we really are seeing ghosts and spirits, that those plagued with mental illness can peer through the veil? We don't know, and we'll never know. So we take what we can't process and turn it into something we can.